All right, this is lesson 4-3. We are talking about checking points. So you already have a graph. We have a slope of 1 going through the origin. So how do I know if a point is on a line? Graphically, it just looks like this, right? So if, okay, I want to change the color for my notes. But if I have a point here, I can say that that point is on the line. If I have a point here, that point is on the line. If I have a point on over here, it's obviously off the line. But how do I do that in terms of an equation? That's really the essence of today's lesson. So I need someone to volunteer with a quiet raised hand. What is the equation of this line? Do we know? Maybe this is above our level.
Y equals x.
It is, yeah. Thank you, Colby. It's y equals x. All right, so my question is, so the question is 1, 1 on this line? All right, quiet raised hand. How can you prove that 1, 1 is or is not on the line? I see one hand. Only one hand. 2 hands, 3 hands, 4 hands. There are more hands. Colby, talk to us.
It is on the line because 1 and 1 are the same thing, and y and x are the same thing.
Okay, so whatever point, if this point is 3, then this point has to be the same number. Okay, yeah, so that's a great way of looking at it. So you're using the equation here. So I'm going to make this a little bit more formal, and this is how we're going to show our work too. When we have the equation y equals x, whoa, what's going on here?
It's laggy.
It is really laggy. So when I have y equals x, I need to sub in these values. Remember, and you can make this note above this in case you forget, the first value of x is x, and the second value is y. So I plug in 1 and 1 for x and y. So I plug in 1, and I plug in 1. And here's the key thing. So this is the main thing that you need to take away from today. After plugging in, I guess the point, one of two things can happen. And here they are. 1, both sides are equal. And that's what happened in this case. 1 equals 1. If both sides are equal to each other, that means, I'm going to do this little arrow thing, that means on line. It is on the line. All right, option 2, it's the opposite. So both sides are not equal. So I'm just going to say sides are not equal. Sides not equal. And I can do a question for that. So our other question to see what happens for number 2 is this question. Is 0, 1 on the line? Again, if you use the same procedure, you start by plugging in the point. So our equation used to be y equals x. It's a weird x. And now I'm going to plug in 0, 1. So 0 is the x, so 0 goes in for the x, 1 goes in for the y. You can see here that 1 equals 0, that is not a true statement. That's kind of almost a swear word in math. You have made a statement that is definitely not true.
It's a swear word?
There are worse swear words in math, but I'll teach you those later.
Pi is exactly 3.
A swear word in math would be, yeah, that's a swear word.
So if I did
That'll get mathematicians really angry.
I'm gonna do that next time. Does that trigger you?
A little bit.
Triggered.
So when the sides are not equal, what should we say here? You can just shout it out.
It's not on
Not online. Perfect. Not on the line. All right. All this stuff in red, that is the key thing to take away from today. I'd like to try one harder example, and then we can just move on to the worksheet.
Do we not do summaries?
We're going to have one summary at the very end. Is it okay if I move on?
No. Just kidding.
Raise your hand if you need a little bit more time to copy the notes. All right, we're moving on. So, the last example. Let's try 3y equals negative 2x plus 1. And the question is, I'm just going to, if I give you a point, the question is assume that I'm asking, is that point on the line? So here's the point that I want you to test. Let's test the point 1, negative 2. All right, give me a thumbs up if it's on the line, thumbs down if it's not on the line, and fist up if you are still working on the problem. So everyone is holding up their hand. Fist, I don't know. I'm still working on it. It is on the line. It's not on the line. All right. So a few people are still working it, and that's fine because it takes time to work on these. And I see everyone else is doing thumbs down, and that is correct. So I'm going to go through this kind of quick. So again, this is my x coordinate, this is my y coordinate, always goes x then y. So plugging in, the original equation was 3y, so this is now 3. And then whenever I do a substitution, always keep parentheses. 3 times negative 2. This is not 3 plus negative 2 or 3 minus 2, this is 3 times y or 3 times negative 2. This is going to be equal to negative 2 times 1, that is the value of x. And this is going to be plus 1. I just rewrote this equation but plugged in x and y. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Still have to have the plus 1. Negative 6 equals to negative 2 plus 1, which is negative 1.
Not right.
I apologize. So again, x is first, y is second. So 3 times negative 2 gives us negative 6. I'm using negative 2 because that was y. This was plugged into the y. This negative 2 was plugged in for the y. This 1 was plugged into the x. It always goes x then y. So 3 times negative 2 is equal to negative 2 times 1. And then I still have to rewrite the equation. The equation had a plus 1, so I have to have a plus 1 here as well. All right. Then I'm just simplifying. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Have to rewrite the plus 1. Simplifying, I get negative 6 is equal to negative 1. And then the final answer here is not on line. That's really what we're looking for. Some sentence or phrase, not on line. All right, give me a fist of 5. How well do you understand how to test if a point is on a line? 5 is I understand it perfectly. 3 is I need a little bit more help. 1 is I just woke up. All right, thank you. Go ahead and write your summaries. Summaries are going to be always on the back side of that page.